What's up, Go enthusiasts? Today we will be watching a game which I commentated live as it was played over the real board. This was played between Calvin Sun, American 1-Dan Pro, and Kim Do-yup, the Korean 8-Dan amateur, extremely strong amateur player. And this game was in the final round, round 6 of the Eternal Cup in California, and it was such a cool game. So not only are the stakes really high, whoever wins this game is going to go home with a few extra $100, but also this game was down to the wire, halfway endgame. The deciding endgame mistake was a 7/6 point endgame mistake. Well, it was a really exciting game all the way through, and I really want to share with you. Most of these live commentaries are on my second channel, Telegraph. You can go there if you want to see more of this style of content. But this game is so sick, I just had to share on the main channel. And also, later today, I will be doing another live commentary for the 15th annual San Diego Go Championship. I'll be commentating round 3 at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. West Coast Time tonight. Hope to see you there. Now, we had the Hane, the Tiger's Mouth, Black Atari in the corner. This is as far as I know about the Joseki there. I understand that's all as it's supposed to be played. But after that, in this part, I don't know what exactly we're supposed to do. It seems White believes we are supposed to attach out and run. My instinct actually would have been to play here, there, rather than to exchange this stuff. To play here, and maybe even capture. No, capture is too small. But at least to play 1, 2, 3. But I can understand why he's thinking that isn't good enough. And this does look quite real, quite reasonable. Okay, so Black has some decisions to make here. It's an interesting position. So if Black plays Atari and connect, and White covers, Black can cover those 2 stones. Which seems good, but when you notice that's Sente, that's Sente. White has a very clean sacrifice here. You see the Black ends up so over-concentrated on the top side. So I can understand Black trying to do something a bit better than that. Doesn't want to give White the perfect clean influence. So he's trying Atari and Descend here, so he doesn't have to give White that bigger wall outside. Looks like this will indeed capture those White stones. Seems like it's a good start for Calvin. White extends up, and Black can push. That's a normal way. Even when White turns, Black can always play this way. There's not much threat that White can have against the top side. This one is Sente, it doesn't really matter that much. Seems like this is a good result for Black, because Black doesn't have to get pressed down so far. He's still getting the top side, but he's got a lot more movement out compared to the other variation, the first variation that we looked at here. Here we go. So Black right now considering, presumably thinking about whether he has to push or not here. It's possible not to push. So push is quite nice because you get to expand, press on White. Hopefully you get a response. If you Hane, then cut is possible. And if you extend, then that should be a good exchange. It seems pretty good. I don't see a reason not to push here. But it seems like Black is thinking about whether he could do something else, like sort of stably go here. It's kind of lame. I'm not a big fan when the opponent gets to put the first move here and then decide whether they want to spend a move or not. Like when there's no pressure and they can fully spend a move in Gote if I give them a nice shape to do so. Like for example now, if you played this, it would be really bad to allow White to play this 8 in good shape. So he plays here directly instead of push. That's interesting. Maybe he didn't like my cut concept as much. But I definitely would have pushed here. And if that, then cut. I don't see a problem with that. Even though these can be Sente. So depending on what had been exchanged. This should have been exchanged earlier. Those can be Sente, and then that can help White to try to cover this stuff. This can be something that Calvin doesn't want to allow. But I don't think it would be that bad. right? I mean, maybe he was scared this can get actually netted and it's like not acceptable. Anyway, just playing Tiger's Mouth is quite conservative. It doesn't have the same pressure because when you diagonal away from a pushing battle, you can't get on top of it anymore. When you diagonal away, you know, before Black was threatening to Hane, but now this is not a possible move for Black. So Black's movement in the direction left is way worse. His thickness is a bit better, and maybe that can help him to attack this group later, but it's really hard to imagine attacking that very seriously when White A is coming. And we don't even have the movement to get on top of it anyway. So White just ignored. White just said, okay, you're going to play that slow, that's fine. I'll play in the bottom left. And now Black gets to play wherever he likes. I'm expecting to see 3-3 shoulder hit. So finally, Black thought for a long time and played the move that he must have known about before that, because I knew about it. Both these players are better than me. So I'll try to follow along. No problem. Here, the Joseki these days has become to play here and then see the jump right away, which confused me at first. I thought when you play 1, then surely you're supposed to push here because it threatens some kind of cut. But then when Black is defending that, they're getting more benefit. So now you might still want to play back here, but the exchange is good for Black, actually. Because after this, White became very thick. There isn't much pressure about some kind of cut going on over here. So you actually want to skip straight away to getting the priority to run that way. No one really cares about whether you go down, at least in most positions. Now, what Black did is he skipped even playing the jump here in order to run up from the left side in a compact manner even as well. I have to say that's quite strange to me. It allows White to play this move. Then you have to turn, kind of, to make this group comfortable. And that's not that comfortable. I don't like the idea of running out in a way which gives White this pleasant bottom side. So I'm not a big fan of not spending any move to get ahead on either side, basically. Because even if when you turn here, it's not like you're ahead there and White gets to be ahead there. What if leaves the group high instead of taking a base? So like instead of turning here, we don't ever turn, but then this one is still getting on top, you know? So now when Black runs that way, which is possible, he could choose to do that. He might play like this. We're still on top of that Black, and it's like still kind of wanting to turn all the time. Okay, White chooses to Hane rather than to play the Knight's move. This has a very similar meaning. It's just a slightly different shape. I think his idea is he wants to see this way and to be fed directly. He really wants this. It is very cool technology we have here. Many shoutouts to Buddha Club, to Tangje, to Devon Phrase as well, but especially Tangje made it. Huge credit to him. Continuously updating it, making it great. So, Black played the clamp and White answered. That's the standard follow-up of this one, but I'm not a big fan. I know that they like before AI they said this is necessary. I disagree. I understand it's like we're trying to press them back. In actual practice, when do you really get more out of this? Like when do you stop White's movement? I find it far more likely that you were going to use co-threats, that you were going to use A, and you should only really ever use B in a situation where you need it. Like B is the one that you want. Now black ignored this Hane in order to play jump. That implies to me he really was thinking that this one is putting more pressure on that white group, which I'm not a big fan of the concept. I don't really agree, since it didn't hem white in very hard. But I can understand how he's thinking that this group will become actually weak someday. It's possible. In the meantime, this left side, which he's building as well, this big box, is also quite important. You could see white play jump here. I know when Q players see this one, they think this is a scam. The Dawn players never do it. There must be a reason why it's wrong. Let's figure out why it's that kind of thing. Most of the time it's not right, because it's like either it was too big and we stopped it, or it was too small and it's not played. But there are certain moments where it's like just right, you know? This might be one of those moments. It's quite important to get over there. Once black starts building, then black blocking here actually becomes like a finishing move to the left side. Wow, it started with a Ko here. That's interesting. And starts with the Atari. That's obviously forcing. We're going to see black connect. Black uses a forcing move. If white was just going to Atari at almost no cost, this diagonal is really not that bad. I think that Atari loses a lot more than Kim Do-yup gives it credit for. He probably was thinking, like, what am I really going to do over here? Excuse me. Like, I'm not going to turn and peep. It just lets them fix. That kind of stuff. It was mostly the resources that we had. It was mostly about stopping black from like shorting their own liberties. In this case, we ended up like before. Black couldn't really chase in because it would short their own liberty and do his stuff and be bad. Now black is far more likely to get ahead. You can imagine black playing moves like this one and can actually move in that direction. Before he could have done the same thing, but when white made some complicated fighting, white could hold that Atari all the time. It would be much harder for black to play around. So then, for example, black could Atari. If this exchange weren't there, this would be much better for white, because white would be looking at chances to Atari. You know, this stuff is far more threatening when you haven't exchanged that terrible empty triangle shorting your own liberty. A lot of the time, they know about that theoretically, but people in real games tend to convince themselves that their theory is not right in order to be able to play their plan. So he really wanted to fight this Ko for whatever reason, and then convinces himself this is okay, even though he knows it isn't. I'm sure he knows that. It's not like that's surprising. With respect to this Ko, when black wins the Ko, it's like black played the capture and then white threw in and black got this one for free. That's a pretty good deal. But it's not that good because the Atari can still come. And if black answers, there's a capture over here. Yeah? On the other hand, when white wins this Ko, white Atari, capture, and then black throws in and white gets B1. That B1 is like kind of good. It helps him live. It's not that amazing. So this Ko became like hot. Anyway, what we had happen was actually black winning the Ko. How did that happen? White ended up playing here, and then black captured the Ko, and then wait. I didn't notice the order. Can we see? Hang on. I was thinking about some other stuff in my head. Let me look at the order here. So black played a co-threat? Oh. I see. My bad. So white played that move as his co-threat. I see. And that's how he was planning. He just made this all work like that. I see. He played that move as his co-threat, which is quite interesting. Definitely isn't making sense with the idea to start the co in the first place. But ultimately, he ends up spending a move and becoming super, super thick there. So any ideas that black had to like long-term attack that group are now gone. Very, very strongly, this group is defended. But black got to block here. I was telling you, that's really big. Black would have been so annoyed if white had jumped. It's so hard to figure out what the right way to cover that is. It changes depending on what all the outside stones are doing, what directions they surround, what directions they make important. Black is way happier to have blocked here and say this whole thing can be mine. It's so easy, so comfortable. White's peep is hoping that the left side black can be weak a little bit. So if you would just like completely not care about the left side ever, entirely ignore it, then there will be some problem here. So here there's a ko, and the other side is not an I. I'm sure there was a better way to handle it though. 9 at 10, right? Let me look back at this. Sorry. If 9 was here, and we did it like that, and then here, then even after this one, black could Atari and live. So there isn't very much weakness there at all. It's going to be okay. That's why black connects. He's really showing this area will be mine and big. Black has some big side territories because white has 3 corners. And those corners aren't even that small corners. A lot of the time when we talk about someone having a corner, it's like surrounded, it's not that big. But this corner can expand that way. This corner can expand both directions. This corner is sort of like a surrounded corner, but it still has like 10, 12 points. I like the addition of the name tags, by the way, on the left side. They're quite nice to be clear who is black, who is white. Where we have the bowls in view and the name tags to indicate who has which bowls. Well set up, guys. This is a very nice event. Chat saying they would choose black. White pushed, black turned here. This is the turn that white wanted, that white was waiting for. Interesting to confront him on it. I think black's plan is like to do that. White is hoping that this won't be bad. White might find that black actually was not wrong to go for this. Also, black might just be relaxed about it. I think this Hane is coming rather than the Atari first, because it's kind of nice to conserve the Atari and be able to attack it a little harder from the bottom side with the threat to cut on the other side. But we might see black just calm down and play something like here, or even after white plays this one, black might block. Wow, white played solid connect, baiting black to extend out. To me, that looks really comfortable to get out here. With a chance to go on top of that, it's hard for white to come through here, right? The cut is obviously remaining, but yeah, it's a no-brainer, really. The cut here is not a big deal because the cut that it covers to capture those stones over here doesn't do anything. So actually white has like a hard decision after the cut to descend or capture because both suck. Both are bad. Odd choice to triple Hane if we were only going to get behind anyway. In this case, it's very much like, you know, if we take all these stones off, well, not that one. Black turned, white could have just pushed here. Then black, this move would be normal, and white push for block is horrific. So very strange. That's right, the first place winner. It's a $1,600 prize. Huge. Second place gets $1,000. Also huge, but there's many other players vying for second place. I'm not sure that the loser of this one will get second place. White hops in directly to the left side. This is a standard concept, standard idea. This actually may not be as exciting as you guys think, because he's hopped in so far from the actual territory that black can be convinced he's actually getting something when he answers. Yeah. So this is not only it's an easy way for black to answer to this, but also white actually let it be good. So I agree with the commenter saying white should have played the first move a bit left so that black wouldn't be so satisfied to answer. You know, if black really tries to kill this, that wasn't going to be that uncomfortable, or at least it shouldn't have been that uncomfortable. Black was not actually that strong that you should be able to kill it, especially with no secondary attack over here. No practical secondary attack, at least. So white gave black a nice setup to the framework here, but that doesn't mean black has to continue to be passive the whole way. White is hoping this will lead into black answer and answer everything. Like, black only gets that area. But just because black started by taking a nice bite of control over the left side doesn't mean he has to keep doing that for the rest of the fighting too. He can very well choose to play this one as a counter. And so knowing he has that kind of counter fighting in his back pocket, but not actually liking any of the area around here, he actually starts on the right side. Interesting turn. Interesting choice to go down. A lot of the time, this move is annoying for black. You really hate to play here because this stuff is annoying. There's always something going on. There's always some trickery. Hard to make it always clear, always clean. So if I'm white, I like to test my opponent with this one right away, and I get this kind of shape. White is thinking about whether black shouldn't have allowed him in to the left side, but this actually makes him a bit heavier on those stones. So this is a bit of black's concept when he played away, is he was thinking when he attacked like this, when black attacks, black was originally thinking maybe this part doesn't matter that much. Maybe white will dominate this area of the board. Now that can't possibly happen because white has invested another stone. But it's not that easy. You can't just be 100% clear. Another concept that you can have here, which looks really stupid, but is probably not, is actually to play like this and here. That looks really stupid, because at the end, you have this empty triangle formation, but it's probably not, because at the end here, you cover. So, although black can get harassed a bit about it, it's not going to be very bad. So really white needs to trade if black starts like that. If it goes like this, white is going to need to spend, not a stone there, but a stone here. And black can capture a stone. That would be winning. Black getting so much control here. This attack is not that bad. So I think this one is much better than you would think at first glance. Looks hard to handle. Calvin's son finds it. Very, very difficult for white here. The same concept. We were just waiting for white to go in so we could attack them harder. But this way we made it even more like this part is heavy. Really annoying for white. He should have been more careful when jumping down, I think. That was obviously something black was allowing him to do. He just went for it as if black was a fox player and didn't know what he was allowing. Black's not a fox player, he's a pro. F11. So if white plays here, which may be the plan, black is going to get a very nice lead in the pushing battle to the center. This part is not like 100% alive, but those two white stones, they're very difficult to save because you can't really get on top of those black stones after they get ahead like that. White jumps down. Okay, I appreciate that. That's, yeah, reasonable. He wants to make more counterattack, but he's allowing black to push through and make a very clear, good shape here. But white is hoping that the counterattack here and the saving over here is all going to be enough to be able to save his stones well. This peep is well timed. When you have a very thick thing next to that, you really don't want to keep the wedge. The wedge later on, it's just going to get a target into the double empty triangle, right? Even if there was some chance where it would actually be cutting for black to play here, it still wouldn't be good. So peeping first whenever you see this kind of shape on the other side, very common idea in order to make the shape as thick, heavy as possible for white. And white is noticing now, he's going to get in trouble. Maybe even Hane is better. But he's going to get in trouble here. He's going to have to rely on this counterfighting. Aha, so he pushes. Pushes and then connects. I thought you were for sure going to push and then cut. If you push but you don't cut, what's the point? I don't get it. If you push and you cut, that can be reasonable. Here, black maybe needs to save in Gote. That would be great if white could take Sente to then come back over here and then use that to sacrifice these to get maybe some time back here. You can make it all make sense. Push and go and don't cut. Yeah, it's very weird. Very weird. Then we allow the Hane first. Now black doesn't even need to cover that cut because it's just going to be in his area anyway. Here. Maybe we see black turn like this to cover the left side weakness. Black uses this way to cover the left side weakness. Wasn't it black's move? When white pushed, so before there was this one, white could have played here. But white chose to play the connect instead of the cut. Maybe thinking that this one was what was coming. I don't think you should be scared of that, but maybe white was scared of that. Probably. Probably this is the one that white was afraid of, and that's why he connected. But definitely you shouldn't push first if you're going to do it like this. Anyway, now this connect at B9, that stops white from pushing down through here, meaning that these stones will not make a counterattack on black, and instead they have to be for the area, which is not comfortable, because you really can't get a route into that area very easily anymore. So we have the cut. This is expected, even though white is gonna have a very hard time fighting over here. You still somehow feel like you're gonna get more Aji if you make the cut first, and then you die with it. But it can easily end up being feeding. From black's perspective, you're like, okay, I get some more. Some more, some more, some more. Somehow, white needs to have something happen for this to be okay. Always unexpected things can happen in Go, but usually when you're relying on them, it's supposed to be that they're supposed to happen if you want to win. I think Doyup will probably just come back, find himself fall back here. Black maybe grow. Something like this. This is not like an impossible game. You can keep playing. Aha, wait, starts with the cut. So, obviously you can't make two eyes. Even if black is accepting. And black need not necessarily accept, but probably a bad idea to go cut. Yeah, we should accept this first. It's very annoying when black pushes here. Don't have a great shape to answer with, only like this one. Ah, you can handle it. It's not that annoying. So white has already gotten one eye, but you're not really going to get 2. You still have to run back, probably. Calvin definitely does seem confident at the moment. As well he should be. He was hesitating a bit earlier, but at this moment the game looks like it's going very well for black. White ended up getting limited in this corner. This is still 10. Maybe this is 15. Maybe this is 15 if you give some credit to the power. In total, if you add these together, maybe it's 10, and therefore maybe white gets to 50 or 55 with Komi. Maybe. On the other hand, black, easy 15. This part is so big. And over here, you have, I mean, definitely easy 15. How can this be less than 20 or 25, you know? This is so much control. So black is leading for sure. Okay, white takes a bite of the bottom side. He's hoping that this can become his because black is committing to the center. But black doesn't have to commit to the center. He only does so if he wants to. And I think he does probably want to here, just because doing so gives you a chance also to play on the bottom side in the future. Not exactly sure about that. But it's very tempting to play here. Gather all these potential points. He might also choose, actually, to play Atari here. It's not as unreasonable as it looks. Obviously, white won't answer, but it is a lot of points. When white doesn't answer, there's like a lot of extra control that you get there. When white jumps through here, you would just play over here. Probably loses control of this, though. Maybe not that great. It is possible instead to just directly play here. That would be okay. Nothing wrong with going this way. I guess if white jumps, though, you'd probably still want to come back and control here. Huh, interesting. Okay, he looks at the weakness here. I didn't think this was very important. The chat was screaming cut, but I don't really understand why. Looks like you can only just play on the top. I don't see a big problem. I guess we'll see Calvin show whatever the heck his idea is. I don't really see it. Just there. This seems very uninspired, and white can just connect. Usually, these exchanges are really bad, because if you would just run on top like I was showing, I was hoping that you would go underneath, and then the underneath would be threatening a cut, a separation. Now you can never do that. This becomes solidly white's area. It's as if black thinks he can do something here, but there's obviously no way. Even if white played on this side, it would be working for white. So I really don't understand what his idea of attaching was. I don't know. Tangje said cut, but what cut was there supposed to be? Looks like it was just an error. Whoopsies, and move on. Maybe he thinks that that blocked the center. When white goes here, now he wants to cut this kind of stuff. I don't really see it. Even if he goes like this, it's good. Good for white. White's corner still has enough space, so it's not that much in trouble. And white would have gained so much here in that variation. It was good for white. Oh, he does the Kema. Interesting. So black ends up playing here. He shouldn't have exchanged these. Now that he did, white gets the courage to Kema, and he thinks it might even be connected. If black had not exchanged these, then it would at least be a lot better. But here we have the Hane, so this is exactly what me and the chat were debating. Very funny that it's happening. Now when white wants to cut it, there's going to be a potential cut here, which now it's actually working like this. Even after this move, it still has some potential. That's pretty interesting now, actually. Now if black went for the cut right away, white could answer this way. If black saves like this, then still white will capture. Yeah, black thinking about this one. I was reading it just now. White is thinking about connect or go under. Chooses connect. Interesting. Now if black plays here, white wants to cut, capture like that. But black might be okay to sacrifice these stones, because that does make it so that there can be some cutting shenaniganry happening here. White now has to play on that side. It is working. It's just barely working for white. Maybe black will choose to cut first. Also, black can choose this cut. So another interesting way is to do this one, go here, 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 get that, and then cut this direction to make it better. Now it would be working for black, because you can see it goes like this. This way kills. So he attaches across first without exchanging anything over here, thinking that this is still always going to be big enough. I'm not sure that this is the right order. It seems like white will be giving up now. Oh, but it's hard to give up in time. Like if black plays here, we could play here right now. That would be good. White will do this much and give up, maybe? The problem with this cut is it loses a lot of control to running out here. The 3-4 exchange sucks. It absolutely sucks when it comes to the movement in the center, which is important, because these stones are not dead. Those stones are not dead. Those stones, they all matter, and the center is what we should be fighting over. So this cut is quite a suspicious move in terms of the whole board. Yeah, I think white needs to play this way and then give up immediately. Then it should be okay for white. Now black is going to have to play back like this somehow. And maybe white will just be patient at that time. Maybe like attach here. Kind of fun. So we have push, Atari. It would probably be a bad idea for white to go all the way in right now. Oops. So at this moment you die, and if you don't play 7 there, but instead answer to this, you have a lot of trouble on the other side. Like a lot of trouble. And then you're also going to die over here too. So you really shouldn't continue, because white doesn't have to ever cut, or to ever try to capture the cutting stone. White can like relax and say, hey, if you ever come in through this way, I will capture you first, because I have plenty of room with this stone, with this group. I have plenty of time, so I can capture you, and this left side is totally fine. Basically, it means, okay, you cut me, but I'm just going to save the center. That would be possible. Another way is to Atari 1 time or 2 times, and then go answer. And then you're asking black to fix it here. So you hope black fixes it, and then you run out fast. White just runs out with this one, so same kind of concept. Talking about how he has all the things, and he just wants to be slightly more ahead. Is it better? I don't know. It's like close. I'm expecting black to attach here and just play like this and ask white what fixing shape that they want. Seems like the toughest question that white can face right now. There's lots of flaws in all the fixing shapes. Except the super slow ones, like this, which should be, I think, okay for black. No problem if it goes like that. It's an interesting position. I think that there's probably a few different ideas black might come up with here, but he's Probably upset he can't do anything very harsh. Definitely when he cut, he was planning on being harsh. Oh, he just diagonaled out. What the heck? Diagonal over the attach to go further? That's the second strange diagonal away from a fight that I've seen from him this game. He really shouldn't do that. These are not high pressure moves. They do not allow the opponent to play slow. When you touch the opponent, they can play slow, wrong, because they feel the pressure. But when you don't touch, they just get to do what they want. It's not more pressure. Not difficult. These white stones should save themselves now. When black plays here, part of his plan is to become impenetrable to a net without thickening that. That makes me think some of his idea is something like playing here, which would be crazy. Obviously, you can do it, but that's not a great shape. Here, we're risking quite a bit coming down here. It's not going to work the way it often was working in other variations. So I don't like that concept that we're aiming at a weakness inside. I'd rather be aiming at it from the outside. If I were white, I would be just waiting. Just run out wait here. He also threatens the other white group. That's true. Put some threat there. So if white ignores, as expected, to that group, then maybe there can be some kind of direct pressure. But this is the kind of moment where you can play out. I don't see any real pressure, because the black is still weak. So it's just like black gets to play here in Sente. That's basically all he gets. I don't really think it's more than with M10 anyway. Like, if you played here, did this, then you would chase this white group a little longer, right? That gives you more stones, that makes this surround real, I think. Like if white runs away now we get an actual cover here. Okay, but white actually just answered. That's so wimpy. Just answer here? That allows black to play this one. Maybe he's not wimpy, maybe he's brave, because this is... I mean, first of all, I don't like playing in the strong area, which I think this is a strong area, and second of all, this is surrounded now. You just said, I'm gonna get surrounded. You better be able to verify they're okay, if you say I'm gonna get surrounded. What was that? Very strange play by white, in my opinion. This looks very comfortable for black, right? Maybe he shouldn't go that far, but one line further. It's better. Does not look good at all. But here we have Calvin doing the thing that I said he was probably aiming at, that he really shouldn't be aiming at. This does not look good either. He's saying, maybe this way I can capture something. Like this, and here, and here. But as I showed before, I don't think it's good. Even if maybe you can capture something. So now, black can take the outside here, but white is going to put pressure on this part. We're actually going to have to answer to that now, because of all the weaknesses, I think. And that doesn't mean that this outside will be completely black's anyway. Really don't like the approach black took, spending 5 minutes and then play this one. And now even when white plays a bad move, he doesn't put real pressure on the... Like, the real pressure was, I hold that chance. This is not a unreal weakness. Like, this is a real thing. You do get value out of it, but you don't get value out of it by triggering to eat the tail. You get value out of it as a threat that the opponent has to answer so that they become really small. Then you can get all the value over here and get a lot of potential value over here due to the pressure on him. Additionally, you can still even put pressure on the whole group that you could maybe capture some part of it as a tail after you surround. But why would you do this first? Now when you surround, it gets way weaker because you gave white an additional potential cutting stone. This doesn't look like it's going to work anymore. Still jump here is probably the best move. This looks like it's still going to be good. It's just like we made it worse. A terrible exchange. Obviously, he's reading deeply into something. Frankly, I don't even know what this something is. But maybe he's like reading deeply into whether this is actually going to be a surround, which is a real question. I mean, certainly this is the right thing to do right now. It's that or cut, but I do not like cut here. All right, he does it. So he exchanged one time, bad move, but it's still a lot of pressure on white here. This is, even though this is not, I think, optimally played by black. Yeah, not optimal at all, but still this group can't really get out. It's still very, very hard. I don't know, somehow white got in some trouble here from black cut, and then white ran. Like, that was all normal. But white got in some trouble and he can't really counterattack that part. I guess he got in trouble when he played this one directly. But that's not so bad to get cut there. This trouble doesn't mean he's losing, but it's just like a little hard to handle. White chooses to extend. So obviously the ideas that we're aiming at playing, like this, that would be great. Save the group. From black's perspective, black can actually try to insert it at this moment. This stuff. So if you go like that and white plays here, it's not working immediately. But if you just insert like a little bit and then play some move like this one, maybe? Ah, but it's really awkward. It's hard to play because still, no matter what, this capture is not really going to be sente. Tough. I think maybe we should just connect. Looks good for Doyup. But I think now... Okay, I'm not sure about that one. Maybe here? Oops. Here? This should be okay for white. To make some space. He's definitely en route to the life. Ah, but it's not easy still. Not clear. Not clean. Wow, okay, he's doing it. This is a big investment of a move. It allows white to play here, 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 here. So that gives white a route in through this side, which can be very useful to white. As white targets these 3 stones, you should probably answer, and then they can look at connecting back. It's, you know, very, very dangerous. This only works if we can use this well, but it's hard to use that well right now. Is white considering answering, covering it? That's crazy. Seriously? Just cover would be nuts. Right? You just allow black to cover answer and then you try to live? Okay, well, this is very daring. You know, I get this feeling. This was the first way that I was ever scamming 9-dans, Fox 9-dans. The first time I was ever beating Fox 9-dan players. It's because I was paying a lot of attention to what they definitely did not check. So when I was playing these Fox 9-dans, the most common thing that they would do is dare. They'd be like, well, when I would win is dare. They'd be like, oh, you're building this area, you know, we fight late in the game, you're building this area, it looks like it's going to be too big, I dare to do that, and they like trigger some weaknesses here or there. And the way that I would get them was by thinking, what exactly have they not read? Like, what was their responsibility to read that they definitely just didn't? I would think like that, and that would lead me to the right variations all the time. By thinking about their responsibility properly, then I would be able to check, like, what would I have read to not die if I were playing and actually doing a responsible job of things, right? And The most difficult games are the games where they actually are responsible and they check everything. That's at least for me. The point is, when you play here, what it means is you read all this out and you know you're gonna live. There's definitely a lot of variations you did not read out. So what did you not read out, right? That's how you should guide your thinking process. What were you supposed to read out that you didn't read out? You clearly just didn't do your homework just now, right? There's a lot of things that you can think to look down that path. So first of all, we know that they're relying on some resources over here, right? So if it goes here and here, we're going to have to answer to those at the moment. And White is hoping that this kind of thing is going to work. There's some question as to whether it will. So maybe we can find some counter resources. Right. So this is what Black has done. Black's saying, hey, if you answer here and I can cover this part, you don't have enough life. Can you really do it on the other side? And he went and he just did the work. Like Calvin's son clearly just spent a couple minutes thinking, what am I doing? And he just did the work. He was thinking, like, what did this guy not read and how do I figure it out? Yeah. So now this is very dangerous and the reading gets very sharp. So if White plays here, Black plays here, White plays here, Black plays here. Let's look. So if this one comes, what are we doing as Black? We have plenty of liberties, right? So the clear check is that after this one, we can cut like that. Here, 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 here. It's working for Black. This is the kind of thing that White was supposed to read. Right? Now Doyup is doing his homework. He was supposed to do his homework when he played that one. But now he's doing his homework. There should be a way. I do think there should be a way. If White answers to this peep, and Black covers the outside, can White make life? Is there a good combo between eye shape and pressure through here? So now the same resources aren't as clear, aren't as clean. And White has enough outside liberties. That's not going to be great on the other side. If you could do it this way and actually get the cut, it would be great. But you're going to get this one and this one, which sucks for Black. White lives. So White does this one. If Black plays the outside, then White plays here, 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 here. Can Black find some nice way? It looks like there's always going to be a movement for White. Yeah, that's his method. Whoa. Here first doesn't even take a liberty, so now Black can get an extra outside liberty. Oh no, it was still 3 either way. And maybe we should still connect, and then we just didn't exchange that. Or maybe it's good to take the White liberty there. Not sure about it. Wow, seriously? What does it mean? So if this one happens, the point, is it here? Is there something here? I don't see anything there. That's. Why did we let White push through here? Black is going to fix if White defends peep. Aha, so he wants this one. I see. Okay. Interesting. He's thinking to extract the territory in the corner, and then he wants to come back to this one. Black does think he can win on points, and he's not wrong. He can. Whether he will, I don't know, but he can. You doubt H18 is good. Why not? Should have connected first? Yeah, very possibly. Because now this is breaking like a lot more. What he's done to go over here. L12 is very, very important. Though you're feeling regretful that he's going to let that happen. Because that automatically saves by capturing and getting a lot of influence over there. It's really big. And we already lost a lot of territory here and here. Alright. respect to Black's block here, realizing this was still a big threat. Always there, and he wanted to come back and answer. It was okay. We have the direct capture. Black knows what he's gonna do. Thinking about whether he wants to Hane or just play here directly. You think H18 is Ajikeshi, but if like right now when Black gets it, he's happy to have pushed white back all the way. He's thinking the best I can do against this white is only to press it, right? So there's nothing more that he can possibly get, in his mind at least, than playing over here. It's possible there was like maybe a little something more, but I don't really think so. Maybe only a co-thread or something. It is true that white was not likely to play over here themselves. Probably black should force at this, agreed. Now white feels very awkward. Very awkward. I wonder whether white's thinking to play Hane Connect here. This is Sente, right? But if you do it too early, it can thicken the right side, and a lot of the time you're going to play over here. Do you wait on it? It's probably not that big if black plays, but this is not very big either. Thinking about harassing these stones. That black group is not like 100% safe. Black immediately Hana'd. He didn't care at all. He just thought white's Hana here is critical. Or maybe white's cut is critical. But I'm not so sure. I don't really understand. This doesn't look very clean or clear. When white plays the cut here, then we're allowing this at any time. Which seems really annoying. So you have to answer a lot of times. And then you still give up the endgame. Not sure I understand why Hane is great here. Over here, white looks to actually put some pressure on these stones. Here, here, here. Looks like white is doing well for some reason in the fight. There was no reason for white to be doing well in the fight, by the way, guys. Black always had a cut over here and a cut here. And for some reason, black like played a move to actually do it before this was actually weak. And now white is going to get thick there. Seems terrible. I don't really understand what this cut was all about. Now when white cuts, it's still connected anyway, so this isn't even strong. It seems awful. Oh, man. Why didn't black just answer? Just Hane or something to this part. Oh. If it was Dame, it's really bad that black now has to spend 2 stones in a row, taking 3 points, 4 points. Oh. Okay, well, he did it. And now white gets to capture a stone if he wants, but really he's going to play over here, make that comfortable, because black is never going to save that anyway. And then he gets Sente too, to come over here, reduce that area. Now is the timing where he's going to be able to invade, because he got thick here. It looks like some direct invasions, like this one, are actually going to work, due to the cut stuff happening over here. It's very hard to cover these, much harder than you think. Yeah, white's thinking about doing this properly. He wants to do this one. It's more tempting. But there is a bit of a problem where after that, this Atari may no longer be Sente. Black could Tanuki. Still awkward. Probably black won't do that. But it's so awkward for white for black. So difficult. Are we really just gonna play here? Let him get away with it? Get away with everything? I think so. I think that's all you can do. Allow everything. Still, there's a Sente move there. And then white is gonna come in over here somewhere. Probably you don't have to come in directly even as white. It's okay to give it if you get your own thing. Thinking about if black had 2 moves, like if black had this one and then white had 2 moves, where would white want them? Probably not one here, right? We'd probably want to just relax. The connection over here is meaningful, but it's not that meaningful. It's the Hane is not a threat, right? It's not pressure. It's just small relevant details. So it's just a connection for that area, not that useful. The Atari here, so happy. Yeah. So that cut first exchange was really good because it made it so that here black got pressed back, had to answer inside, which is losing a point or 2. I think exactly 2, actually. Oh, for black just now, you guys think black was considering to play 07 and allow white to play here in order to without this exchange, right? Allow white to play there in order to crush the center shape. That's an interesting concept. That was possible. It was probably not gonna actually kill, and that's why he didn't do it. Because you lose so many points that way. But it was actually, like, it's very possible that was a good concept, a good idea. Worth thinking about. I shouldn't have ignored it. Should not have ignored that potential. So if I were white now, I would shoulder hit here. That's my choice. He chooses the cap. He's more relaxed than me. The cap seems to imply he thinks he's leading. It's a very relaxed way to do this, where you take your own area and let black answer. No problem. Is he leading? Let's count. I think black is leading just slightly. It looks like it's a really close game, but I would take black. So it's interesting that he played a relatively conservative way with the cap, allowing black to easily answer. Finally, that one gets played. That one was so big. Clearly the biggest endgame. It was so big of an endgame, it was worth considering playing that in a middle game. Black really doesn't want to answer because it's a huge gain if white gets that in Sente, and it really could have been black Sente as well. The critical endgame, there's something over here, for sure. So let me just put A's and B's on there. There's A, there's B. That one still looks like it's Sente, by the way, for white. It's close, but I think B is still Sente. That would be really annoying. B is quite big. What else is there? There's C, something around there. D is a big endgame, to be fair. Obviously, this is white Sente as well. E and F, white will just get in at some point. They aren't big enough for black to answer to, but also something that white should get in before the endgame becomes small. Calvin thinking what to do, what to do. I suggest playing here. This seems like the biggest to me. You play this one, you put pressure on the whole white center. White has to figure out how to handle that. Probably he will, but It's annoying. And if white would play there, then they get a lot too. Yep, Calvin plays. Really annoying, really tough for white. I think probably we should just answer like this. It's a little ugly, but at least we get the initiative to the side, and we'll still save in the center. You have to be a bit daring when you're down in Yosei. Maybe this isn't daring enough. Maybe white thinks, I really need to get this one in. I would respect it, if so. If this is what happens. The clamp is still really annoying here. If black plays away, let's just have black play something. White could clamp here. If black allows that to happen in Sente, it's obviously big. If it goes like this instead, the cut here, big threat. Possible to try to cut it and allow it, but always it can be renewed. Really tough. So it looks like they can link up back out of that. And if none of that happened, if black played here, white could do this one. And again, it looks like black cannot cut because there's the timely Atari going on like that. So I believe this Hane Connect is like Sente, which is pretty annoying to black. In the game, white just connected out here. I don't think that's a very meaningful, valuable move. And as if I were black, now that white said that they got thick there, I'm going to use this peep timing. That seems really comfortable, and I'm going to play here. Calvin just directly plays there. He chooses to omit the peep. I'm not a big fan, because I think if you see white play this one, you're probably going to answer. And if white gets all these in, you're probably going to answer. And then you'll just wish that you had just peeped, right? A lot of people disrespect the Sente moves. It seems like white is disrespecting it as well. Because this one is so big. It's so big to control the side. I don't really see what they're hoping could be like better controlled than the side. It's not like you care about the center. It's not like you can get anything in the center anyway. Definitely, I think it's mistakes that they're not playing here. White plays here. So white peeps and black connects. I can aim at some weaknesses over here, but black also got thicker. Looked like this is going to be a black win in the endgame here. He was leading going into the endgame and also getting the critical move here. I think that move is really important. I think white needs to play here right now, but then still there's something in the bottom right. Yeah, black really should have peeped there. Pretty big difference not to peep. Uses the turn. Interesting. Does he have a threat, a point? Not sure, not clear. There's something kind of interesting when black plays here. If white plays this one, it allows this move, which is pretty good for black. Because now if you answer to this side, there's going to be this one, aiming at some cuts, some pressure in the center, and this cutting point. White gets really awkward. So if you play here, white might want to play this one, but then that doesn't put pressure, you know? It's allowing black the clean shape, not the accurate active move. So I think this is the correct order to play on the right side here. Wow. My second counting just now, I had white by like 1 or 2. And it wasn't very precise counting, but I still didn't see white leading by 6 points. So let's go into the detail of the endgame. How about we? White has to play G13. White has to play the push through here? Or there's a G13, there's a trick? Hane, what trick? Hane there. Bang, bang. Bang, bang. What trick? Is the bottom left alive? So these 2 stones are supposedly dead, and therefore all of this is black. If you're talking about this white, that white is out. Black just answered over here. So that's because white connected, which is threatening something. So now black has covered it. Oh, you mean this one? Is this one alive? Yeah, this is alive. You can say A and B are Miai. But now this is a close game. So let's dive into the proper endgame. So we have the A area, the B area. There's something around C. D will be white sente, and then there's going to be nothing there. After this, there is some intrigue about how that's going to relate to the cut and then the center cut over here at F. Okay, so first they're going to play at B. Now after this, the classical way to handle it is for black to throw in A, B, C, like that. So throw in first. This is good because it makes black very thick when black captures, so that's why it's good in this position. Or not really captures, but blocks. Now these are 6 points. Over here, this Hane is Sente. This is interesting. This Hane is huge. Absolutely enormous. So black may choose to cover that. Black chose to cut. This covers the this stuff, because now if black throws in and Atari's here, there's some problem. But actually it doesn't cover it that well, because white could still go underneath. It becomes interesting. Then when black captures, white would recapture, but black could play here. White plays here, black cuts, white capture would be good for white. So it doesn't really cover it. White can still do that. Just afterwards there's some trouble. Anyway, in the meantime, white exchanged the Hane out there and then made his outside space. Then this one, black is treating it as his Sente. Is it really though? Is that really black Sente? Can white play away? Yeah, there's actually a bunch of things happening. Calvin is down to less than a minute. Kim Do-yup still has 3 minutes. We have cut here, which is, yeah, just getting time. White is thinking about blocking. Yeah. I'm down for a block here. I support that. Blocking allows black to Atari. You can capture. Black can capture. You can recapture. Black is there. You answer. Seems okay. Seems fine for white. We're still going to see this answer, and then actually still some intrigue, but yeah, probably it'll be nothing. So white blocks, black just connects, then white has to answer. Because it's going to be 6 points in just pure capture if black can capture those stones, and an additional fallout in the endgame, even against the corner. So white will answer. Thinking about his correct way to answer, decided that this one is good enough for co-threats. Black can press here. So you're thinking about playing on the outside or playing answering, but chooses to answer. Decides that's more worth it. Fair enough. Extend. Very fierce. I think maybe Kim Do-yup should have played on the outside, not played here. If that move had been out here, that would have been very comfortable in comparison to this. This is very uncomfortable. Looks like he loses all of the potential center area, and that's if he survives, which is not that clear, not that clean, right? Because this group is not physically alive either. So it's going to be difficult to run this out and then also not surround that one at the same time. Even this group, that one's alive. That one's alive. But somehow white is collapsing a bit here. White has to push somehow. Black answers. White can push again if he wants. He probably does want, because he's going to have to connect here. That move is still very important. So push one more time, then he connects, and then black starts attacking all the groups. Looks like it might work for black. So after this, here. Oops. Yeah. White is going to play here, black plays here, white plays here, black plays here. It might look like white can do this one and capture that one stone, but black has this move here. Then if white connects, white is going to be dead on the right side and then also in trouble over there. So white needs to play the Atari. So this is it. They're playing into it. White needs to play this Atari and then answer here. And then this black stone would be in trouble. So it's going to be a ko for the whole left side here. T6 was bad. Fixing over there lost time. Can be multiple things are true here. He's, I think, thinking about playing one of these attempt to connect moves. If you play here, then you're going to get surrounded. But you can live. So that's kind of what he's aiming for. Now if black cuts and is very fierce about things, well, you can still aim at that problem. So he covers here. Okay, interesting. That means if white plays here, he's trying to kill this way. But yeah, it would be working. So here you can see it's all connected. Oh, but there's still this one. That would be alive. Yeah, now it's alive. Okay, wait. Chance? Maybe white's getting away with it here? White can play here, directly even, I guess. Not clear. No, he has to answer first. And then black will play here first, I guess. No, he really wants to kill. I guess he just can't. He would love to play over here and have it be a kill, but wait, wedge? Maybe he can only fight this ko. Okay, so that move is weird because when white captures, white is now alive. And wait, was not alive before. Huh? Well, why did he do that? Couldn't black have played here and then killed? Well, he gave up, so he went to the bottom side. Why is white wedging now? Now white is reducing his own center territory, like upper side territory, for the potential stone in the center. Yeah. Okay, so this is helpful for black's cause. Now even this one makes it so that white has to play here, which is making it so that the ko over here is for potentially the life, again, of this entire dragon, right? Maybe not yet, but sometime in the future it could be. Increasing the size of the ko at the very least. So white will play here. Yeah, white was going to be able to live with this one and the wedge if there was no ko. But there was still a ko that was happening, right? So black Atari's capturing the 3 stones. That was a 6-pointer. It's going to be a half-point game, the chat says. It very well could be here. Sounds reasonable. White thinking to Hane connect here. Looks good. The threat, if black plays away now, is to play here, here, all the way, and then here, which then it would be, you know, if black played there, it would be captured. There's a crowd of 10 plus live, and more people here. So black saved that by answering here, and there's still a chance that something can happen on this side. Let me check. Because here, 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 here. Sorry. No. Here, 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 here. No. You know what I'm talking about, guys, right? Like this. There's a potential co that could happen if ever this liberty gets filled. But I guess it won't. I guess that liberty will never get filled. Calvin didn't put a stone in the bowl. There is one white stone behind the board here. Highlight down there. That stone, I'm pretty sure, was captured and is supposed to be there. This is very similar to the old Byeonsang Gil versus Kaje drama. It's possible that Kim Do-yup will miscount and then demand a judge come and disqualify Calvin's son from the game. This is a actual real life story that happened recently, like a year ago or so, to Kaje. Crazy. White is gonna play the 2-point move for real? Alright. Interesting. Paid it. Isn't this big before white gets to go there? Like, even if it goes like that, white doesn't get a point anymore. Isn't that nice? If white wins, then white wins the tournament. If black wins, then first place is indeed up for grabs between the 5 win players. Kim Do-yup seems to have spotted my move. I believe that was important. It gives him an extra half point. So this one is a little more than 2-point size endgame. Because when black wins, black also makes a ko here, which in all likelihood is going to be G1 for F2. Sente, right? That's the very likely response at the end there. At which point white is going to get a third of a point instead of 1 point. So this is actually, because it's 3 steps to get an additional 2/3 of a point, right? Or no, it's 4 steps to get an additional 2/3 of a point. So it's, each step is 1/4 times 2/3, which is 1/6. Yeah, each step is 1/6 bigger in EV, so you'd count it as 1/3 bigger. So these moves are 2 1/3 points. However, it's dependent on who gets the final co-threats. So, like, if somebody has a co-threat master, you can invest a bunch of stones here and then find yourself playing 1-point moves while they play the 2 1/3, because they have enough co-threats to just keep going while you play the 1-point moves and you don't have any co-threats. So in this case, white has a lot of co-threats around here. Black is lacking in co-threats. White also has co-threats around here, right? Maybe black has a couple co-threats throughout the board, but not many. So the reason why we're not seeing them fight over this yet, I think, is because black knew that white might just gobble up some of the 2-point endgame, and then when black is forced to the smaller than 2-point endgame, white could still force and win all that. At the moment, if I were black, I would play A to take a 2-pointer. No, it's not a 2-pointer. You still have to fix it. Darn it. Because you will just get a target here. It doesn't do anything. My bad. I wouldn't do that. White presses there. That's his co-threat. White may choose to choke black out of even more endgame. Play stuff like this one. Because white has such a huge co-threat advantage, he doesn't need to play his 2 1/3 pointers over here. It's just A, B, C, D. And is there anything else? Is this a point at E? Wait, isn't that huge? It's not a point until you play at B, so I guess it's not that important. Black is going to fight for the ko in the meantime. Oh, white played a co-threat. Is fighting back. I think black should try this one. The goal is to deny this point, as well as take that one. Yeah. That's a 1.5 pointer mostly, because the weaknesses over here mean that you can't really Atari there comfortably. What happens if Calvin forgets this stone forever and white gets an extra free point? Then we laugh at them. But whatever they count there on the board, that's the ruling, as far as I understand. So if both players agree, if they both count and then they agree, oh, this is what happened, then they're right, whatever they counted. So now that one is forcing because there was a big sequence going on through here where there was some, yeah, here, 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 here would have been threatening a ko and black would be short. So white would have a free picnic ko on the right side. And now white is playing this last 1 point, not winning this ko because he's insisting I still have more than enough ko threats for that. And he's probably right, because he still has A, he still has B, C, D, E, and he still has, there was one more, right? F. And also something over here. I'm not sure what exactly, but probably G. So that's like a million co-threats. White used, or black used the chance to get 1 point as his co-threat. I wonder whether there was a chance to start fighting the ko earlier to run white out of co-threats at this stage of the game. Was that a real idea? Oh, Calvin just played to allow white to win the ko. Looks like white's going to get to play d2 now. What? What is he doing? Is he really going to fight for all the dame and this ko? Wait, why did black fill another dame? Wait, what just happened? Black did just fill another dame right now, right? Was that? I feel like I may have just hallucinated something because I went and read the chat while they were playing. You think black needs to avoid this dame ko from happening? Like white could try to play at h1 to make a dame ko win. This is AGA rules, so it works the same as Chinese rules when it comes to ko at the end of the game. So black eventually allows white to win that d2, and now white is thinking about playing h1. Right? So how many dame are there? There's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There were 9 dame other than the top side. So if you took one, then the other guy would get another. You believe white wins by half a point? Really? So they filled all the dame. Now they're gonna count. Calvin's gonna show the one stone he had hiding behind the board this whole time. Ah, they're gonna talk. White wins without Lidgate drama. So Kim Do-yup manages to finish this game off with a half-point win, apparently. Here, Black was leading, but this move was not good. He needed to extend here and dare a bit. That's a bit tough with all of this stuff. N5 was great if they could have gotten to it quickly. This one was okay, even when white captures, as long as we go put the pressure. So this is about putting pressure on the whole area here. Saving and trying to attack everything. Then here, again diagonal back. This one wasn't so bad. But here the N7 was indeed blue, allowing the full stuff, all the chicanery to happen. Actually, white should even not take the territory to go for a squeeze. That's interesting. Yeah, we were thinking white might take the territory here, and then black would have to try to attack this whole thing. It would be dangerous, but it would have been good for Calvin. He had a chance there. Didn't take it. Instead it went this way, and then he really needed to play Peep. Then he would be leading by 4. If he could play Peep, and then Hane Connect was the correct way, of course, rather than just descending. If you just descend, then you still allow white to block. Hane Connect is, of course, better. But anyway, if he did that stuff, it was great. When he answered here, he really should play N2. Yeah, even here, they should play N2. Just play that in Sente, please. But they never did it, and then eventually Kim Do-yup got to it first. Here, there was something. Here, I couldn't understand what AI was talking about. Yeah, what is the trick? Wow, there's a shortage. So I didn't... Oh, there is a real shortage. Yeah, so there's nothing you can do. Oh, that's snazzy. I didn't know about this. I couldn't read that out. That was a very cool trick, but that white had available. I didn't see it. He didn't see it. Nobody saw it, so it didn't go played. Yeah, that's what that's all about. So then black managed to fix it, and then the game was super close, super intense. They played this endgame first. Came back here. Black pushed there. I didn't even check. I didn't even see most of this stuff. But white played here. That was pretty dangerous for the center. Black had a real chance here. Yeah, he definitely did. He managed to save that center bit. Here, black is leading a lot. Oh, but he has to play everything exactly perfect, doesn't he? He doesn't mind a throw-in. What? So, the throw-in here is about, like, you need to still capture those 3 stones. So it's okay to let white live there. And the point was, instead of trying to attack this black, or to attack this white really hard, it was more important to just reduce this a little bit, get your best endgame, win the endgame. So hard, he was never actually winning by 5 points. Eventually he plays here, and then white wedge was sort of self-destructive from white. This move, AI hates it. Wow, the 6-pointer was much bigger. Yeah, he still got to cover all his territories. So that makes sense. Black was leading here by half point. Super tight. Oh, so close. Somehow white got a lead. What did black do wrong? This move is wrong? Yeah, I was telling you about this one. Kim Do-yup got it. It turned out to be Sente. And then that was like a Sente half point. Because white can make a half point here later. And there was no effect on the rest of the endgame, really. So you lose half a point, like flat out with that. And then it looks like that was actually the game deciding half point. If you played here and then did the same thing. Yeah, I don't think there's any difference between these two. There could be. Actually, there is a small difference, isn't there? This one's slightly better because you play here and in response to that, and you get a little bit more points as well. So this way you get a potential to like reduce it a bit further. So that was also a mistake. Wow, this A11 was bad for 2 reasons at once. It's so hard to tell this stuff. So hard. But it turns out that the A12 to press into that side, and then also this one, those were both good reasons why you had to play here and then A10. And then black would be winning if you did everything perfectly here. If it went all the way like this, then black wins, for sure. But instead it was this way, then he lost half a point here, and over here, yeah, he tried to just not answer to that, but it wasn't much bigger. So over there, compared to being able to push, what could blocking? So you lose 2/3 of a point. So wow, this one lost half a point, and then also 2/3 of a point here for 1 1/3 points loss at A11, and that's why it swung the game instantly. And then yeah, in AGA rules, you can't win by 1.5, so he won by half a point. But even though 1.5 is what the AI says, it still was only this one endgame mistake. A11 instead of A10. That was what lost the game in the end for Calvin. What a game! What a game! Sick. All right, hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna hop out of here. I'll see you later. Bye bye.